There's a brand new Yone build giving him a ton of strength up in the top lane, while Vayne has a really interesting new setup providing her much more power. We've got all this and much more to cover as we'll be breaking down 10 of the most OP builds that are on the rise in patch 13.13. And just before we get started, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. Stop wasting your time grinding thousands of games only to see no progress. With SkillCapped, you'll uncover the secrets to climbing ranks fast that only take a few minutes to learn and can be immediately applied in your next game. The best part is it's completely risk-free to try, as you're kept safe with our rank up insurance. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted by clicking the link in the description below. Alright, now let's have a look at a few new top lane builds. As mentioned during the intro, top lane Yone has a new build that is popping off in solo queue. You're not building Blade of the Ruined King, you're not building Gale Force either, it's a Kraken Slayer Rush into Hullbreaker second as the 2-item core. It's key to note that both Gale Force and Bloodthirster saw pretty big nerfs in 13.12, so they are now performing much worse on Yone. This new Kraken Hullbreaker core offers Yone a massive amount of 1v1 power and the ability to thrive in the side lane. Yone has always struggled more heavily against other bruiser or fighter champions, but this build providing a good mix of damage and durability gives him much more strength into other fighters. Although the Gale and Bloodthirster build provided a ton of upfront damage and burst, the margin of error was always way less and any mechanical mistake could be punished way harder. The rune page to run with the build is Lethal Tempo followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Optimal secondaries are Second Wind and Unflinching. A really interesting new build that has popped up on top lane Rengar consists of building Static Shiv as a core purchase. It's not actually all-out Assassin Rengar that you'll be playing though, as Divine Sunderer is the rush item, while Deadman's Plate is what players are building third. This build really shot up in popularity during 13.12, and it's going to be extremely strong here again for 13.13. You're getting a nice mix of everything from this setup, as the durability is amazing, damage is solid, and you've actually got some good side lane pressure. One of Rengar's biggest weaknesses as a top laner is his inability to shove out waves quickly due to lacking a high damage AoE spell. By going Shiv second, this weakness is completely thrown out the window, so you can push out sides quicker, and then look for rotations mid lane with ultimate when the enemy is forced to clear the wave you just shoved in. The burst power of the setup is pretty sleeper as well, since you have the Sheen proc from Divine, Energized proc from Shiv, and the damage proc from Deadman's as well. You're going to want to run Fleet Footwork as the keystone rune with this build, followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. The best secondary page is Second Wind and Revitalize. This build definitely isn't brand new, as we have seen it before, but it's going to become way stronger for 13.13, so we want to highlight it, being Eclipse Lee Sin. Lee is having his Q base damage and Q AD ratio buffed this patch, which will make the value of building Eclipse much better. In games where the enemy comp is very squishy, Eclipse fits in extremely well. Lee is a champion who needs the snowball to be effective, so it's often more practical to side with the offensive option like Eclipse instead of Gore Drinker. Building Eclipse also means you're able to grab an early serrated Dirk, which helps out massively with your ability to win out in those early skirmishes. The complete build you'll want to run is an Eclipse Rush and a Black Cleaver second and Death Stance third. Grab Conqueror for the Keystone Rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Free Boots and Cosmic Insight are the best secondaries. A build that has really started picking up traction over the past two patches and is a great build here for 13.13 is Duskblade Hecarim. There was a patch or two there where Ghostblade was extremely broken on the champ, but then it got nerfed and Duskblade got buffed, which is how we've got to where we are now. Dusk is currently heavily outperforming every other rush option on Hecarim, however, only 25% of players are building the item at the time of making this video. Trinity builds are also doing great right now, but Duskblade is still a cut above based on the analytics. The untargetable effect from Duskblade makes Hecarim super slippery in those skirmishes, as he can dive in, take out a target, and then run out of danger with all of his movement speed from Phase Rush and Ghost, while taking no damage due to the Duskblade untargetability. Complete core build consists of rushing Duskblade, going to Manamune second, and Spear of Shojin third. Phase Rush is the best keystone rune with Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, and Water Walking. Roll with Eyeball Collection and Ingenious Hunter for secondaries. Ghostblade Talon was extremely broken when the item was first released, but now that it's been nerfed, there is a new build gaining a ton of traction. You're actually going to be delaying your mythic item until third with this one, as it's a Ravenous Hydra Rush into Black Cleaver second. The Hydra Rush fits in so well with how Talon wants to play, as it amplifies his ability to shove and roam super well. Black Cleaver slots in to provide some added durability and lots of ability haste as well. Something that really flies under the radar with this build is that it has so much ability haste. Ravenous Hydra has 25, while Black Cleaver has 30. Duskblade is going to be the third item to round out the core build, and it tacks on another 20 haste. This gives you a grand total of 75 haste, or in simpler terms, 42% cooldown reduction. A standard lethality build of Ghostblade into Prowler's Claw and Edge of Night only has 30 haste total, or 23% CDR. The skirmish power of this new Talon build is miles better than the lethality setup, while you're not actually lacking much burst either, since Ravenous and Duskblade are going to be pulling their weight. Conqueror will be the best keystone rune with this build, followed by Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Pick up free boots and biscuits for secondaries. A new build for mid lane Jace that is highly underrated right now consists of rushing Duskblade. The passive on Duskblade amplifies your damage by 20% when the enemy is below 30% health. This works so well on Jace because it allows him to finish off those low health targets with Q snipes much more frequently. Jace, being a spellcasting fighter, also likes the fact Duskblade provides the most ability haste out of any lethality mythic. The mythic passive on Duskblade grants bonus haste as well, which is really nice. Currently, Duskblade is winning about 1.5% more than Eclipse on Jace, so analytically it's looking like a great pickup. For the core build, it's Duskblade into Manamune second and Cyrilda's Grudge third. First Strike is the best keystone rune with free boots, biscuits, and cosmic insight. Run Mana Flow and Transcendence for secondaries. There's a new core build going around on Vayne that allows her to abuse two of the most broken items in the game right now. Static Shiv is going to be the rush item, and then you're going to build Trinity Force as your mythic. The Static Rush is amazing for Vayne to help make up for the lack of wave clear in her kit. Trinity Force provides great extended fight power and makes Vayne a bit more difficult to kill, which is perfect for a champ that needs to be up close to deal her damage. That upfront burst damage coming out of the Shiv Energized proc and Trinity Force Sheen proc is really nice too. If you're someone who is not as mechanically gifted but still enjoys playing Vayne, this build is going to be a little more noob friendly than running Rageblade. Rune page to run with this build is Lethal Tempo, followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Pick up Conditioning and Overgrowth for secondaries. Now that Kai'Sa's hybrid build of Static Shiv and Nashor's has become weaker for 13.13, there's a new lethality build you should be looking to try. The Collector into Essence Reaver second and Duskblade third is the 3-item core. This build is all about maximizing Q damage and being able to follow up on supports and gauges with lots of burst power. You're almost looking to play Kai'Sa more like an assassin with this build, as it lacks attack speed, so you're all about that one-shot power. In games where the enemy team comp is very squishy and you're paired with a melee support like Nautilus, Leona, or Rakan, this setup can work wonders. With that said, if you're playing with an Enchanter support and are into a more tanky comp, going the standard on-hit build is going to remain the play. Situationally, this lethality setup is super OP and should not be slept on in 13.13. Rune page with this lethality build is going to be completely different than what you'd run when playing on hit, as you're not taking lethal tempo. Instead, it's going to be Hail of Blades, as it offers the most amount of upfront damage, which synergizes great with all of the raw AD you're getting from the lethality build. There's a new build path for Renata that is looking extremely powerful right now, but is still quite underrated. Although most Renata players rush their mythic item, you actually want to delay it until second with this build and rush Imperial Mandate instead. Mandate has incredible synergy with Renata because her E and Q are able to proc the item's passive. All in power with Mandate completed and R available is very potent and provides Renata with an amazing skirmish. In games where you are ahead early in lane and are looking to take control, rushing the Mandate can work great. The complete core build will be Imperial Mandate into Shuraleya second and Chemtech Putrefier third. Rune page is Guardian with Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Optimal secondaries are Zombie Ward and Relentless Hunter. A build that many pro players have been pulling out on their rel that is still quite uncommon in solo queue consists of running Abyssal Mask. Beryl and Sven are two pros that have been building it as a second pickup. Rush item is standard stuff with Even Shroud. Since Abyssal only costs 2400 gold now, it's a very cheap magic resist pickup for support champions. The Unmake passive from Abyssal works amazing with rel too, since when she dives into fights, she will always be reducing the magic resist of the enemies while gaining MR herself. Since this passive shreds magic resist, the item is really good in games where your team has a lot of magic damage. Even if the enemy team is not stacking a ton of magic resist, being able to shred the enemy's base MR will have your team dealing much more damage. The 3-item core is looking like an Even Shroud rush into Abyssal Mask second and Knight's Vow third. Glacial Augment is the best keystone rune with Hex Flash, Dematerializer, and Cosmic Insight. Run Bone Plating and Unflinching for secondaries. So that wraps up all the new builds, but if you want to improve fasting at the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. With premium courses for every role and skill taught by the best players, SkillCapped is the perfect platform to help take your game to the next level. Take our Wave Control course. While you wait for your next game to start, you can learn freezing, fast pushing, slow pushing, bouncing waves, the list goes on, all in just a few minutes to maximize your improvement rate. Or maybe you just like seeing your opponent's health go to 0. Then you'll love our trading course. We even have a skill test at the end so you can see how good you really are. Players just like you are leaving 5-star reviews and raving at how helpful they are. That's not all we offer though, as every week we release 10 brand new Smurf commentaries where a challenger player teaches you how to climb out of the exact rank you're stuck in. If you're looking for something more personal instead, then we got you covered with one-on-one coaching from our trained challenger experts. All this seemed too good to be true? Well, don't worry, we're backed by a rank up guarantee. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. Thanks so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and we'll see you back soon.